Hello everyone, I'm Bhumika Mohan. Today I'm going to talk about e-waste management in this video. Firstly, I'm going to talk about what is e-waste management. Then I'm going to talk about sources of e-waste, composition of e-waste, need of e-waste management, characteristics of e-waste, toxic materials in electrical and electronic waste, health hazards due to exposure to e-waste, recycling and recovery of e-waste, extraction of gold from e-waste, and lastly, I'm going to talk about role of stakeholders in environmental management of e-waste. First, what is e-waste management? Electronic waste, that is, waste arising from end of life electronic products such as computers and mobile phones, is one of the fastest growing waste streams in the world today. Annual global production of e waste is estimated to surpass 50 million tons in 2020. India is among the top 5 e-waste producing countries in the world with estimated annual production of 2 million tons. Like some of the other developing countries, e-waste management in India is dominated by the informal sector with estimates of more than 90% of the waste being processed in the sector. E-waste contains several precious metals, rare earth metals, ferrous and non-ferrous metals, plastic, wood, and glass. Unscientific practices in the processing of e-waste are associated with several environmental and health externalities. Sources of e-waste. Electronic products used for data processing such as computers, monitors, keyboards, printers, scanners, etc. Electronic devices used for entertainment such as TVs, DVDs, CD players, music players, etc. Equipment or devices used for communication such as phones, landline phones, fax machines, etc. Electronic products that are discarded due to advancement in technology, changes in fashion or style, or end of their useful life. These are the sources of e-waste. Next, let's talk about composition of e-waste. Valuable metals like gold, platinum, silver, and palladium, useful metals like copper, aluminium, iron, etc. Hazardous substances like radioactive isotopes and mercury, toxic substances like PCBs and dioxins, ferrous metals containing iron in its composition. Characteristics of e-waste. First, hazardous components in e-waste. E-waste consists of a large number of components of various sizes and shapes, some of which contain hazardous components that need to be removed for separate treatment. Second is the material composition of e-waste. E-waste contains a mixture of various materials, particularly copper, aluminium, and steel. Next, need of e-waste management. Electronic waste is hazardous if deployed awkwardly and can cause harm to the environment and human health. Reclaiming valuable elements from the recycling process can help to decrease the demand for raw materials. E-waste management can reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It is critical to keep electronic waste out of landfills. Electronic products are comprised of valuable materials such as precious metals like gold, silver, and platinum, along with copper, aluminium, plastic, and glass. Toxic materials in electrical and electronic waste. Lead, mercury, and other metals, flame retardants and phthalates, PCB containing capacitors and oils, mercury switches and asbestos, printed circuit boards and batteries. These are the toxic materials in electrical and electronic waste. Health hazards due to exposure to e-waste. Fetal loss, prematurity, low birth weight, congenital malformations, abnormal thyroid function, and thyroid development. Recycling and recovery of e-waste. The following are the different approaches to recycling and recovery of e-waste. Hydrometallurgical extraction, pyrometallurgical extraction, direct recycling. These are the 3 steps involved in recycling and recovery of e-waste. Hydrometallurgical process. This method was used to extract valuable metals like copper, gold, and silver from e-waste. It involves the following steps for recovery of metals from e-waste. The 3 steps are pre-treatment stage, chemical treatment stage, metal recovery stage. Pre-treatment stage. It involves the physical separation of metal components from e-waste. It involves the dismantling the e-waste into its component parts such as circuit boards, plastic, and metal parts. The different parts are then sorted and separated based on their composition. The metal parts are subjected for grinding to reduce the size and make it easier to extract the metals. Next comes the chemical treatment stage. In this stage, the metals are made to leach into solutions using different leaching reagents like cyanide solution, acid solution, base solution, thiosulfate solution, halide solution, etc. In the leaching solution, metals are dissolved. Then the solution is separated from solid waste. Next, metal recovery stage. In this stage, pure metal is recovered from leached metal solution. The methods like solvent extraction, exchange, adsorption, precipitation, electrodeposition are used to recover the metals. The recovered metal later used in the production of new electronic devices. The second type of process is pyrometallurgical process. This method was used to extract non-ferrous metals like aluminium, copper, and lead from e-waste. Heating and smelting operations are used in this process to recover the metals. It involves following steps for recovery of metals from e-waste. First is pre-treatment stage. Second is metal recovery stage. First stage, that is pre-treatment stage. It involves the physical separation of metal components from e-waste. It involves the dismantling e-waste into its component parts such as circuit boards, plastic, and metal parts. The different parts are then sorted and separated based on their composition. The metal parts are subjected for grinding to reduce the size and make it easier to extract the metals. Next is metal recovery stage. In this, steps by using methods like roasting, smelting, combustion, incineration, pyrolysis, useful metals are recovered from e-waste. Roasting. In this step, e-waste is heated below its melting point in the presence of oxygen for oxidation. Smelting. In this step, e-waste is reduced to metals by heating with carbon at high temperature. It gives mixture of metal slurry. The impurities present in metal slurry was removed by a thermal process. Then metals were required from slurry using hydrometallurgical technique. The third type of process is direct recycling. It is a process that involves breaking down electronic devices into their individual components and then recycling those components without the need for further processing. It involves the following steps. First is collection and transportation. Second is disassemble. Third is sorting. Then last step is recycling. First, collection and transportation. E-waste is collected and transported to a recycling facility. Then comes disassembly. Electronic devices are disassembled by hand or by using specialized equipment. This process separates the various components of the devices such as plastic, circuit boards, and metals. Next is sorting. The separated components are then sorted by material type. For example, plastics are separated from metals. Different types of metals are separated from each other. Then the last step is recycling. The separated materials are then recycled. Example, plastic might be melted down and molded into new products. These are the steps. Then the extraction of gold from e-waste. This process involves following steps: pre-treatment stage, chemical treatment stage, metal recovery. First comes pre-treatment stage. It involves physical separation of metal components from the e-waste. Techniques used are gravity separation, electrostatic separation, magnetic separation, etc. The second step is chemical treatment stage. It involves the leaching target metal by treating with appropriate chemical reagents. Cyanide leaching is the most common method used to extract gold. When gold-containing e-waste treated with sodium salt of 3-nitrobenzene sulfonic acid with potassium cyanide and in the presence of oxygen gives the dicyanurate gold complex. This is the reaction of the chemical treatment stage. Last step is metal recovery stage. In this stage, gold metal can be recovered from the obtained complex using methods like electrodeposition, solvent extraction, ion exchange, precipitation, etc. Example is electrodeposition. In this method, pure gold metal taken as cathode and inert anode are dipped in obtained leach complex solution. When current is applied, gold is electrodeposited on cathode. Now, let's talk about role of stakeholders in environmental management of e-waste. This involves producers, consumers, recyclers, and last is statutory bodies. Producers, the accountability to collect green tax. charging on addition amount on consumer during selling of e-products and return it with interest at the time of exchange of e-products, forming the group of manufacturers who monitor and encourage the recycling of e-waste, bearing the transportation cost and collection fees to ease the collection process, purchase the recycled material at fixed value and using of recycled e-waste during manufacturing, giving discount to consumer on the basis of e-waste generated from gadget. These are the functions of producers. Consumers, the accountability to pay green taxes, develop self-awareness on e-waste management and involve in awareness programs, returning back of e-waste to collection units. These are the functions of consumers. Recyclers, the accountability of recycling units is dismantling. The function of recyclers is to establish the collection units and the group of people who can ensure return back of e-products by consumer in exchange offer. Collecting the e-waste from the collection units, dealer or retailer, providing incentives when proper collection of e-waste assured by collection units. Recyclers recycle the materials from e-waste. Lastly, the statutory bodies collect the green tax from consumer through producers. They apply some extra charge on the producers, that is manufacturing units, in the form of penalty when no proper recycling of e-waste. They provide the incentives in the form of subsidy to recyclers and collectors when recycling of e-waste is monitored properly. They conduct programs of awareness in the society about importance of e-waste recycling in reduction of hazardous substances. Thank you.